Yo, gang, Lambo Calrissian here, and today we're gonna hit the 4 riders in the series who used the Lost Drivers. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm gonna explain each rider chronologically within the series, not introduced overall. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Starting with the first rider of Futo, we have Kamen Rider Skull. Sokichi Narumi uses the Skull memory in order to transform, and believe it or not, this rider has 2 forms, with both being introduced in the movie War Core. Skull Crystal was the first and incomplete form of Skull to appear. It has no stats that I'm aware of and differs from the standard form in that the helmet does not have the signature S-shaped crack and the helmet is very iridescent. This form can release large purple skull energy blasts that can bite opponents and comes equipped with the Skull Magnum, the predecessor to the Trigger Magnum in its normal form. Moving on to the standard form, this is the most notable and iconic form. Skull's iconic form comes from the tethered scarf and wearing a white fedora and rocks the S-shaped crack on his helmet. This form was the first rider form to quote double signature line count up for your crimes. Skull comes equipped with the Skull Magnum in its maximum form, and Skull's design seems to be a homage to Skullman, Shotaro Ishinomori's creation preceding Kamen Rider Ichigo. Kamen Rider Cyclone is the next on the list, and this form doesn't have a whole lot of info on it. Philip, using a Cyclone memory, assumes this form in the One Who Continues After Z book to battle the Zoo Dopant and give the Lost Driver to Shotaro, who later uses it to transform into Joker. This form hardly has any information on it in terms of abilities or stats, but if I had to give an educated guess, I would assume that this form has Joker's stats identical with it, except for jumping height and running speed. Next is Kamen Rider Eternal, the strongest Lost Driver rider to date. This rider has 3 different forms. 2 forms, the first 2, being accessed by 2 different people, while the final one is seen to be as an intense power-up. Moving to the first form, we go into Red Flare. Red Flare is the incomplete and weaker form that was accessed by Jun Kazu of Foundation X in the Kamen Rider Eternal movie. This form was the result of Jun's incompatibility with the standard Eternal memory and can only use this form as a result. Red Flare gets its name from the red flame designs on the arm and leg bands. There is no known ability stats for this form, but I would surmise that this form may be equal to that of Joker, T1 Joker. Blue Flare is the complete form that is accessed by Katsumi Daido with the use of the T2 Eternal memory. Chronologically, it is first seen in the Eternal movie, and it gets its abilities fleshed out in the A to Z movie. This form gains its name Blue Flare from the blue flame designs on its arm and leg bands instead of red like in Red Flare. It is also decked out with a black robe and extra memory slots, bearing resemblance to that of a combat vest. This form's signature weapon is a combat knife known as the Eternal Edge and uses it to perform the maximum drive, the Eternal Requiem, a powerful wave that cancels out all Gaia memories, specifically T1 Gaia memories. The extra memory slots are designed for all 26 T2 Gaia memories in this form to power up Eternal into a strengthening armament mode. This form does not have any notable stats, but it's clearly powerful, going toe to toe with the Cyclone Joker Extreme and Gold Extreme, and even showing the ability to absorb Cyclone Joker Extreme's Prism Beaker energy. And finally, we move on to Kamen Rider Joker, accessed by Shotaro Hidari using both the T1 and T2 Joker Gaia memories. This form was first seen in the A to Z movie as Shotaro used it to battle both the Heat and Steel Dopant. This form was used predominantly in the final episode, but this was the T1 form rather than T2. In terms of the power of the stats that Joker has, the only ones that we see are the T1 memory in use. T2 is said to be stronger by nature, but there are no known stats for that form. If I had to guess, I would say that he's as strong as Eternal Blue Flare, but got bodied because of his previous fight prior to that showdown. If you look closely, T1 Joker's stats are pretty much half that of Kamen Rider W's, and to make up for the low stats, Shotaro's combat experience plays a very pivotal role. So that's pretty much everything I have on the Lost Driver Riders, or the Lost Riders, however you want to call them. If I was confusing everyone with the T1, T2 talk, don't worry, I'm doing a T2 video to explain that, so look for that in the future. But if you enjoyed this video and you like what you saw, don't hesitate to give me a like, subscribe to the channel for more Kamen Rider weekly goodness, and let me know in the comment section below who's your favorite Lost Rider. Obviously, I've said this a million times, I really like Joker, but second place for me would be Skull. Well, other than that, I'm Lambo Calrissian reminding you guys to keep calm and Toku on.